report.
G'day, Chriso. Conditions down here are interesting to say the least. We've got a chance of some showers here at the MCG today. We're under grey skies to begin with. And as Malcolm Blight mentioned with Hutto before, there is a blustery breeze down here on the MCG, which will probably affect the ball movement around the ground throughout the match. The two changes to the side. Sean Burgoyne was going to be playing all week for Port Adelaide with that knee. Late in the week, he started to feel some pain. That's when they had to make the change there. Travis Tuck's got that problem with the hip flexor after that contact last week. Bo Dowler comes in. There's nothing structural about it. They're not trying to exploit anything according to the Hawks. He just deserves his spot. So that's why he's come in with some encouraging form underneath the senior team. And the boys are talking about Lance Franklin and the suspicion that there might be something with that hammy. He was kicking the ball from all over the place in the warm-up, and his last shot at goal was from about 65 metres out before the boys went back in to come out for the final time. There doesn't appear to be anything wrong with his hamstring as he was warming up here before the game, Chris. So he looks like he's in pretty good nick.
Beautiful work, Andy. Thanks for that. And looking forward to this game. As we mentioned, 8 out of the last 10 times these clubs have played, Port Adelaide have been the victor, and their record at the MCG is also sensational. They have won 8 out of their last 10 games here at the MCG. So they go into this game with a fair amount of confidence in terms of the historical record, but it's going to be a tough task, as you mentioned, Malcolm, without the two Burgoynes. Dominic Cassisi, of course, missing. It's a massive task for Port Adelaide.
Well, it is, Chris Owen. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to the game. There should be some skill shown here today.
Certainly should, Blighty. Dean Brogan has proved to be such an important player for Port Adelaide. Maybe more so than we thought when he missed that round 2 match where they were extremely disappointing against the West Coast Eagles. We're underway with a bit of a wrestle between Taylor, who took the opening bounce, and it's Lewis straight into action, Rioli. And on the end of it, Clinton Young got them fairly aimlessly forward, where Nathan Cracker, who's just got a heap of the ball in the last few weeks. In fact, he's had career best possession tallies for each of his first 3 games, up near the 30s last week. Here's Roden, who was the late inclusion, out to Motlop. So some of their important players getting early touches and showing a bit of authority to Motlop, spreading it wide. And the kick coming in, not so good from Boak, and Guerra able to chop it off.
So Brent Guerra, former Port Power player, of course, finds Taylor. Great to see him back in the side. Now Rioli at half-back for the Hawks. Didn't get off the mark, but he's able to find his man. And Bradshaw, who was outstanding in that corresponding game last year down at Aurora Stadium. Stokes between half-forward and wing. Probing kick at the back, Williams. Well done, Pettigrew. Just worked him underneath the football. And we'll get a boundary throw in Hawthorn's right forward pocket.
Chris, just as we watch Mark Williams there, Franklin has started up forward. I thought they might have just thrown him out in the wing for a while. That hasn't happened. And Carlisle's picked him up. So the matchup that we thought has happened just happened up forward.
So Brogan, beautiful tap down to Roden. Out to Cracker, who can measure the kick. Doesn't do a great job of it. And coming in, a good strong mark taken by Guerra. 55 from goal. Quick little gives okay, although to the non-dominant side of Luke Hodge. Doesn't matter, Franklin. Well done by the Port defence, getting back in number, and they can bring it out again through Chad Corns.
They can. Straight into action for Pearce. Got a big challenge today, Blighty. He's looked pretty good this year, Daniel Pearce, but pretty tough opposition today.
Yeah, he has been in good luck at the start of the year. Port just using this. They've got a few numbers back. That's why they're using the ball out well. Great chase.
You would have thought they'd know by now to watch out for Rioli, but he's actually been pinned for in the back. Boy. He did slide into his back.
Just came too quick.
On the follow through, but yeah, anyway, I guess them's the rules. Handball to Salopek from Roden, and they're moving it by hand through the middle, trying to work their way through the zone. Boak, just a little important miss there from Thompson. That was very Port Adelaide-like by Robbie Gray. They do flirt with their form. They are entertaining to watch, even with the big white socks. Stokes, here's Brogan for Salopek. Smother, good hard stuff from Williams. Into a pretty open forward line. The 2 one-on-ones. There's an extra Port player at the back of the pack to help out, but Franklin was able to take it away. Tries to set the former Port player away in due, and he is away. And we know he's a thumping kick, but can't get over Surgeon, and he couldn't get it through to Roughhead. So Port so far have been able to stand up pretty well in defence.
Yeah, they're just playing a couple extra back at the moment. They can't find this. This is the kick that's important. They've got a player on here now but it's the next kick.
Thompson's got it now. 60 from goal. Where will he go? He might go all the way. No, he kicks to the top of the goal square. Or Hawthorn. Mark taken by Murphy. Quick to play on. He's got options. Jude's been prominent early.
Yep.
Chips further afield. Here's Lewis. And they can rebuild. Although, as you said, Malcolm, this is where it gets difficult. Chad Corns getting back in the defensive 50. Bateman. Jude willing his players to come to him. Jude wasn't a great kick off the boot. Surgeon can mop up. Chad Corns left it behind. Rioli swooped on the loose footy. Franklin backing out of trouble, if you don't mind. Rough head. He was run down. Well played by Pettigrew. Kept his feet there. Lewis dived in. Not much happening there. Umpire will call for it. 60 metres from the Hawthorn goal.
Oh, look at the tango two-step. Look at this. So you think you can dance, Michael?
Yes, it was clever, wasn't it? Roden. Oh, gee, diving in hard. It's a Hawthorn player, and he's earned the free kick. That was Roughhead.
It's a good line, that bloke.
Chips it beautifully to Franklin. And Franklin will kick from 35 metres.
It's just worked pretty hard. He's just had 3 really hard attacks here. Look at him sucking in the breath. A lot of people don't quite understand sometimes why they miss some easy goals, these guys. He's worked so hard for about 3 or 4 minutes, and it's explosive stuff. He really needs just to compose himself here.
Okay, so from in the pocket, and he misses to the left. Never really gave it a chance. The first score of the afternoon.
Still blowing, mate.
He'll be right, Malcolm.
11 goals, 7 coming in today. Lance Franklin, here's Salaban. He has really been churning up the possessions, averaging some 28 disposals through the first 3 games. Playing half-back role, just ranging across half-back. The one that KBI says wouldn't mind coming back in a new life as a half-back flanker. Just getting plenty of touches. Willy-nilly. Here is Roden. Head down. A bit of a point to prove for Roden. Left out last week. Off the outside of the boot, whether it was by design, I'm not sure, but it almost got through to Ebert. This is the pretty impressive Whitecross getting involved for Hawthorn. Now some high contact there on the fend-off.
Yeah, on the fend-off.
And it's going to Ebert. Hawthorn swarming back in numbers, but not before the short pass was on. And the man who came into Port Adelaide's side today, Tom Logan. Hands off to Motlop because you know he can go the journey. He just didn't get the alignment right. But Port Adelaide are on the board. And they've been inside 53 times. Hawthorn 5. There's the fend-off. Simon Taylor. Got to be a little careful, as he should know by now.
Yeah, couldn't really complain about that. I think it was a good fend-off. It was just a little bloke came at him. Obviously a free kick.
So Guerra gives himself the option to himself and then delivers beautifully to Brown in the back pocket. Campbell Brown, All-Australian 2007, premiership player, of course, last year to Lewis. Great to see him back. Well done by Mark Williams, playing up the ground a little bit today. Bateman, turned it over. Carr read it superbly. Here's an opportunity for them. Gray chips it to Logan, who marks 50 from goal. Now, Ebert's on here. Decides instead to handball out wide to Pearce from 50. He unloads and kicks a wonderful goal. Wonderful skills, Malcolm. Daniel Pearce, and he's kicked the opening goal of the game.
You know, the smart play here, Trissail, was this handball. He was going to give it to Ebert and then realised Pearce, being a left footer, in a much better position. That decision-making there was brilliant. Now, typical modern football, a turnover, set up beautifully with handball. Here it is, back through the zone, and eventually Daniel Pearce gets the goal.
Becomes such a crucial part of footy. I guess they always have to some degree, but with the way teams run up and down the ground, turnovers really do hurt. Roden's had 5 early touches, due 3 for Hawthorn. Corns always has the job on Mitchell, most likely has the job on Mitchell when these two sides compete. Hodge cleared the path, but filling it was Motlop, and he's missed a big chance there. That's 2 misses for Motlop. That was a lot easier than the last, and Porter right in this early. They've taken a 7-point lead, but they could be up by a couple.
So the Hawks bring it out quickly again. Guerra finds Lewis just backward of the wing. Good run again from Mark Williams, and 10 on playing on. Trying to get it to Dew. Eventually it got to him on the bounce. He normally uses it brilliantly. This time not as well as he would have hoped. Just out of the reach of Bateman. And we'll get a boundary throw-in in the forward pocket. Boundary pocket. Interesting. So Hawthorn down by a goal. Bateman's so important to this Hawthorn. He's hard gut running. Brogan, brilliant tap to Cracker. And he's able to measure the kick. Corns off to Carr. Good handball. Boak draws a player. Salopek, look out. Oh, gee, slipped down in the tackle. Play on. Good call from the umpire, that. Carr off to Treadray. Deep. Beautiful opportunity here for Brendan Lade. And that's where the zone, Malcolm, can bring you left undone because they were able to get the ball in quickly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, here's this ruckman. Brogan goes up. Rough head there. Just doesn't actually go. Now, you wonder if they've got a few ruckmen in the team.
You reckon they'd have a ruckman doing the ruck work?
Yeah. I mean, Roughhead did it last week as a fill-in, we know that. And it almost has set up this goal, hasn't it? Ruck work has set up this goal. I know they still have the skills. Great play.
So here he is from directly in front. He pops it through, and Port Adelaide off to a good start at the MCG. 2-2 plays one behind, and some concerns, early concerns for Alistair Clarkson.
Well, it's just not quite working for them up forward, believe it or not, as we watch this ruckman replay. That was clean, wasn't it? Hasn't Cracker become an important player? Mark Williams looks on. We saw Alistair Clarkson before. No one needs to panic. But 6 inside forward 50s each, so they just haven't capitalised, the Hawks.
One thing working for Mark Williams, his ruckman have had 5 hit-outs to nothing. Clearances are 3-2, but even though Hawthorn have got 3 ruckmen, Blighty, Port Adelaide are winning the hit-outs. Let's see if Brogan can continue the trend. He can.
There's a clash with an umpire there.
And so it's a Hawthorn kick, and it's going to Sewell. Of course, he played in round 1, Brad Sewell. Tagged early by Ling, but still ended up with 20 disposals. This is Dowler into the side. Sets it up for Franklin. Hitting it hard. Well done, Pettigrew. It was more than a match in the air. Carlisle couldn't handle it cleanly. And now there's another free going against Hawthorn.
Pettigrew slow to get up.
3 free kicks to 2 at this early stage. Oh, that's the clash with the umpire, the right of screen. Chaplin measures the pass and got the centimetres right on for Pearce, who looks as ugly as you can with the kick, but tell you what, it was mighty effective. Hamish Hartlett on debut. Just showed a couple of nice manoeuvres early for us. Boak, chipping ball, not perfect delivery, but good contest. That's what Port need. Ebert.
That's good play. Ebert could have easily gone to ground under pressure there, but he just toe poked the ball to himself as we look at the umpire clash. Terrific play from Ebert.
His socks with these long white socks, Ebert's socks almost come up to his shorts.
Look like your old school socks, Hodder.
How do you know what my old school socks look like?
No, just imagine. Young kicks it into the back pocket to Murphy.
Don't.
Who kicks towards Renouf, and free kick.
As long as they don't smell like my old school socks, Chris, that's probably the most important thing.
Against Brogan at half back. Dowler needs to be clean here, and he is Young. Back to Dowler. So Hawthorn methodically working it forward. Beautifully played. Chance now for Sewell. Got it to Mitchell. Off to Bateman. And Bateman kicks it beautifully. Chance here for Campbell. He strolls in. Kicks Hawthorn's first goal of the afternoon. Pretty easy in the end there, Malcolm.
Got him behind. This is the play here. Just wonderful overlapping play. And in behind the defence. There's the ruckman. And so goal either ruckman, either end.
Hawthorn with a goal. Let's have one more look at this umpire. It's Matt Thomas, I think it is, at the back of the pack. So Sewell was there and just couldn't get out of the way, I don't think, Matt Thomas.
Sewell never took his eyes off the ball then, by the way.
So he's going to be in trouble, you would suspect, just on what we've seen as a precedent. But Mitchell had his first touch in that last passage of play, and Hawthorn got their first goal. So he's been well restrained so far by Kane Corns. Kicking out of defence again. Chaplin with the clanger that time. Dowler cleaned it up. And now Rioli, we love watching him play. Somehow he can just seduce the ball from any angle. He kicks it a little hurriedly, but it's effective again. A downfield free might have been paid to Moss, who sets it up, and Buddy will do the rest. Oh, really? He still might, but he's... In fact, the umpire's called that a throw. No latitude there at all. And Porter away onto the wing via Kane Corns, receiving the kick out of defence from Chaplin.
Handball off to Carr. Poor kick again. That's a couple of times they've gone forward and coughed it up. Chance now for Morton of Hawthorn. And back to Young in centre wing in front of the Great Southern Stand. Chips to Stokes. Hawthorn just in the last couple of minutes really starting to control things. Stokes inside attacking 50. Franklin, but he's outnumbered 3-on-1. Mark taken by Brogan. Off to Carlisle. Surgeon. Salopek. And they share it around. And the mark's taken at half-back by Chad Corns.
Who goes very short through centre half-back. Thomas, who looks a player. Brogan, this is the handball through the zone. We're watching again. Salopek out wide. Hartlett, he's a nice kick by reputation. We see it there. Wasn't perfect, but it was good enough. And Carr could have moved on. He had Treadray to try and hit, but decided not to. Now he goes for Treadray, and Treadray gets there easily. Boy, the Hawthorn, we know they work with their zones, and not necessarily man-on-man, but that was just slack.
Well, that's exactly what both teams are doing. They're playing exactly the same way. They're guarding an area, and there are free players everywhere. If the skills are good, we could see 348 goals kicked here today.
Well,
a lot of goals anyhow.
You might be slightly exaggerating there, Malcolm, but...
you know what I mean? It just looks as though it's going to be an open game, doesn't it?
The kick clangers are 5-3. Port Adelaide have had more than Hawthorn so far. It's going to be a crucial stat, I reckon, the way we're seeing this, the ability not to turn the ball over by foot. Warren Treadray last week, I know he didn't have the greatest opposition, but 6 goals for the first time since round 7 2005. Warren Treadray, I know he had his coach very, very excited. Let's see if he can convert from 30. It's always been just a little bit of an issue with Warren, but there's no issue there. That's a goal.
Yeah, that many goals is probably a lot, but it is so open that the team with the best skill will win. And that's probably not a bad thing. But right now, there's not a lot of defensive pressure from anybody. And you would expect, on a day like today, just a slight breeze around, slightly overcast. It's almost perfect for footy. You'd think goals will come.
Warren Treadray, his first of the afternoon, as we watch it again, and plenty of space inside this attacking 50. And I think one of the concerns, Malcolm, is the defensive height that Hawthorn can offer up. And they could be exposed here this afternoon. Taylor wins it down. Taken, though, by Adelaide. Tried to get the handball to Kane Corns. He's wrapped up. And we'll get a bounce in the centre of the ground. At the moment, the man on Treadray is Murphy.
And you've also got...
And then you've got Renouf down there on Brogan. And that is going to be a matchup that Port will try and capitalise on through the afternoon. Roden did brilliantly. Got it out to Salopek. Cracker in plenty of space at half-back and build here. Chad Corns. Kick around the body is okay. Dropped by Thomas. Gee, you can't afford to do that at this level. Good tackle, though. Lewis coughed it up. Motlop. Chad Corns looking for support. Now, what's the umpire?
It's going to be 50.
No, I think it's a...
Yeah, it's going to be 50.
Yes.
Yep. He dragged him down after
he got rid of him.
Now, the lime green umpires stuff, that's to acknowledge that we should, respect our umpires.
Yes.
In all levels.
That's got to be a good thing, doesn't it, Malcolm?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
It's pretty... is it a short 50 or is it about... Let's hope it's the right distance. We don't want to criticise them.
No, not after we've just said that, Hutto.
No, I reckon it's about right.
Okay. Corns.
Oh, no, I think you can... If you see a bad decision, you can still be critical.
Okay.
But as a
I know you will be, Malcolm.
Okay, here we go. Chad Corns from 35. Oh, gee, that's an important miss. A wonderful opportunity and went begging. And Chad Corns, remarkably, never won a best and fairest. 201 games, been one of the great players for the Port Adelaide Football Club, but never been able to win a best and fairest.
Has he won any popularity contests either, Michael, over the years?
I wouldn't have thought.
He probably has with the Port fans, though. And he's certainly colourful, and we need all the colourful players we can in the game. Brown around the flank. Couldn't get it to Sewell. Cracker comes in. It's out on the full. Now this is, as the boys have been talking about, a very tactical game at the moment. Can the players think their way through?
Well, you're quite right. It's actually right now a players' game, because if they can find some space and use it, they will get a kick.
So Hawthorn are looking in the mirror, Blighty. Is that what you're saying a bit here? Where they're seeing them set with Porter playing the way Hawthorn play?
Yeah, he's just out of bounds on the full. Yeah, just off the back heel.
They're pretty good with their little fancy footwork, Port Adelaide, particularly Daniel Motlop. We saw him do a bit of that last week. Mitchell finding the possessions hard to get. Wade Thompson wasn't clean initially, and boy, he felt some heat from about 5 Hawthorn players. Or on Blighty's language, about 55 Hawthorn players.
Okay.
Never one to exaggerate, Malcolm.
No.
14 points is the margin then. Taylor, good ruck work, got to the front, but Carr, with plenty of years of experience, was able to read it, but he couldn't get away from Sewell, who out-muscled him. Mitchell got some initial high contact, but he went the wrong way, as you said, Chris O, and that's some terrific tackling. Look at Port players, they are... Well, Sam Mitchell looking for a bit of an explanation.
Well, what he needs to do there, I mean, he tried something, it didn't work. I mean, that happens 100 times a game, and what he needs to do is get his hands on the up in the air, over the mark, and guard the mark.
But he clearly had the prior opportunity, and that was definitely a fair decision, I would have thought, from looking at that replay. As Port just concentrating on maintaining position. Hartlett, that wasn't his best kick, but no damage done, so that's okay. And now they can gradually get out of defence. And eventually find the loose man in Selipek, who again is getting a wealth of possessions. His 8th made it awfully difficult for Surgeon at centre forward. Hawks everywhere. They sort themselves out roughly with the handball back to Sewell.
Sewell across the ground, looking for Young. Carr providing the chase. So Young thought about taking Carr on, then opted to go back to Guerra, who kicks it beautifully to Franklin, who drops another mark. That's a couple already. Tried to knock it to the advantage of Stokes. Lewis comes in hard and does well, gets it to Young, off to Moss, spots Jew but didn't quite get there, and Hartlett playing game number 1 for Port takes the mark coolly, off to Chaplin, who handballs wide. Pettigrew,
no one to kick to shortly after this one.
Kane, and he finds Ebert. Now this is where it gets hard, because Hawthorn have the numbers back, as you've said, Malcolm. Forced to go short. It's okay. Mark taken by Gray.
But why wouldn't you chase it? There's only one play. If you look at it, if you've got awareness of the game, Gray was the only bloke who could kick it to, and he didn't really chase him hard. This is the part of football I find a bit staggering, to let your player go and get an easy kick. And you're right there. So
Boak's got it now. Not much on forward of him, so he goes back to the point of the square at left half forward to Lade, who kicks around the circumference of the 50-metre arc. To Chaplin, off the Crack, who finds a way through, and the mark's taken by Roden, and that's the most effective way to do it. Go around the 50-metre arc and then wait for the opportunity to kick the ball inside the 50.
Yes, but I've got to go back to that first kick that I mentioned. Because it wasn't chased first, that Port controlled the footy. There could have been a contest over the other side of the ground. It just bemuses me, all that. So
David Roden from 45 metres. Looks pretty good. Is it high? It's home. So Port Adelaide have their 4th. And a very handy 20-point lead.
I think we've all been impressed with David Roden in his stint at Port Adelaide. For him to be out of the side means probably it was a form issue, and whatever's happened, he's certainly come back today, and there's a hunger for the footy and a hunger to run and a hunger for the contest. 7 touches early is really good signs.
So Port away, lead by 20. A bit touch of Brendan Favola, perhaps about the way he's kicking for goal there, Blighty, with the technique. High,
yes,
on the
high
right hand.
Yeah, it's a freak's kick, as I call it. It's not the normal way to kick. Only freaks can do that.
You should know all about freaks, Blighty. Here's Lewis out of the middle, but not for long. Surgeon, good. They're working the ball well by hand. I know they have to, but Port winning on the inside and through their midfield, which we thought was going to be a struggle without the Burgoynes and without Kasisi today. It's a light touch, wasn't it, across the arm. Free kick count is 8-3 in favour of Port Adelaide at this stage. Now Pearce can go along to the square if he wants to. He took something off for trying to hit Roden. Corns was hanging on to Mitchell. The ball comes loose for Rioli, who's happy enough to bounce it right through defensive 50. Now Williams, the foot goes down. Franklin, one-on-one. This is how he likes it. But you've got to give credit. The Port defence holding up okay at the moment. It was for a moment. And now Salopek will be able to go in and get it again. Thomas under pressure. Pettigrew. There's another fend off. And it's going Hawthorn's way this time.
Gee, Carlisle did all the hard work, and then when it came just to giving the handball, couldn't quite execute.
Once again, it's an energy. You expend energy, and sometimes your skills just drop off.
He'll kick this.
So Stuart Dew, he's already reached if he kicks this goal. He's tally for the whole of last season. He was so damaging in the grand final.
Oh, it's a good kick, isn't it? Isn't it,
it is.
It's missed it. Oh, isn't it just an easy action?
Extraordinary the amount of power he gets out of it, isn't it? So Hawthorn, the reigning premiers, just 1-2-8, and Adelaide, Port Adelaide 4-3-27.
Hartlett, who's been dragged back to the goal scorer a couple of times in this quarter, spent a fair bit of it on Stuart Dew. Kane Corns, now Brendan Lade. And Hawthorn have got this zone in place, and this is where Port Adelaide have to be so precise with their skills. Pettigrew, Thomas, still at half back though. They've made a great start, Port Adelaide. As we tick down to quarter time, got to be really clean here. Well done to Corns, off to Motlop, and now some run. Ebert was short, decides to go longer than that, and Murphy read it brilliantly, diving forward. Off to Guerra, towards Bateman, chipping in. Hartlett almost took the mark, and what's the umpire going to do? He didn't have an opportunity there, so he's it up and read it pretty well there, Malcolm.
He did. Here's this before. Carlisle gets the punch, goes forward. See Buddy pull back. That is a true forward. You've got to make a decision, don't you? You're in no man's land. I reckon do one or the other. So I haven't got a real problem with that.
Intelligent touch from Young, Dowler, Mitchell, Bateman. Oh, there's the handball turnover. And here's Port springing into action. Pearce maybe just overhandled it a fraction. Pettigrew on the back foot, but they're not done with yet. This is Boak, ever improving 20-year-old. Good solid, good strong lead at the footy from Gray. That was terrific play around the corner, and Logan should be able to cap up his good work. He couldn't holding the ball, and that's going to be 50 now, I reckon. Should be 50. And will be 50. Did Logan actually have prior opportunity?
I was going to say, is everyone happy with that rule? I reckon sometimes there's a bit dynamite on the bloke trying to make the game. And I know, I'm not being critical of the decision. I'm just not sure whether it's the right look at it. Have a look at this. 1, 2, 3.
Just enough time. He had enough time to get a handball. But
surely when you're within 20 metres, you have a shot for goal. Hawthorn, sweep it away now. Stokes, drive it deep. This could be costly. Franklin, well done, Carlo.
Hands in the back.
Oh, dear. Free kick to Franklin, and this is, well, costly for Port because Franklin, there it is.
Well, where's the back start and where's the side start, I guess is the question, isn't it?
Well, the bottom line, it's a terrible rule. So Franklin from 10 metres should just pop it through, and he does. Hawthorn have their second. So the margin is back to 13 points. Treadray had a shot at the other end to extend the lead out to 25, and all of a sudden it's back to 13. Now, was that a push, Malcolm?
It was. To the letter of the law, it was a push.
It didn't matter. Well, it didn't matter because he had his hand in his back. Doesn't matter if you push them or not.
But he was already under the ball. He didn't read it as well as he should have. You have a look. You've got to know that he's under the ball.
Okay.
Because you're stopping, he's going to come back on you. You know you got the spot. You don't need to put your hands out. All you need to do was put his hands up in the air. He didn't actually.
Or even just lean his left side in there.
Buddy was gone. Yeah. Buddy was out of it.
Absolutely.
No. Laid with the tap. And nothing doing after that. Port will be happy to get to quarter time, I reckon, and maintain this 13-point lead.
And he's only a young player, Carlo. I mean, I think he's the future of Port Adelaide too, I believe. But it's one of those decisions you make as a defender, Michael. You should know better. You see the ball, you understand where the ball is. You don't need to worry about your opponent. And he didn't do that.
No.
Rioli goes mining in. Everyone's appealing for a free.
And, I mean, it's sadly, it's not acknowledged well enough about a defender that can actually read the ball and not look at his opponent. Do you agree with that? I mean,
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That was Thomas, who impressed coming back on the side last week. Ebert's good above his head, and we know Hawthorn are down a bit in numbers in defence. Thomas had to get involved again. That was a good tackle from Murphy, and the Hawks can go running off half-back now. High kick to the wing is very, very average at best, and Whitecross's kick is marked nicely by Hartlett, who's had a couple of nice touches. In fact, it's his 7th disposal, and his heart would have went in his mouth for just a moment there as it went to Pettigrew.
Pettigrew. Pearce. Holding the ball up. Signalling absolutely nothing.
It's a secret code that every team does.
Towards Lade. And the boundary throw in.
You wouldn't want them to be doing the signals in World War II or whatever, would you, the football players? If that's the best they can come up with, Blighty.
But I'm just fascinated. There's 16 teams doing the same thing now, so it's an absolute secret in football.
Close to quarter time. There it is. Quarter time at the MCG. Port Adelaide 4-3-27, lead Hawthorn 2-2-14.
It's a lively start from Port Adelaide. They'd be very happy with that, as Michael said. 4-2, and Port have taken an early lead.
Yes, I think that's probably fair.
What about the Hawks, Blighty? How's their forward line working? Have you seen Buddy and Ruffhead? Hasn't seen a lot of it, has he? 2 disposals and Franklin 5.
No, they've certainly avoided, sounds silly, they've almost avoided Ruffhead because of this zone playing. There's been so much handling of the ball through the midfield. If you make a mistake, Ruffhead leads 15 times and he's really left out of it.
So second quarter about to get underway here at the MCG. Port Adelaide lead by 13 points. Brogan beats Taylor. Saul was held, well, it may have been just before the ball arrived. So free kick to Saul against Chad Corns. Off to Morgan, who was outstanding last week against North Melbourne. Long towards Franklin. Well done, Carlisle. Got a hand in there, but Franklin, intelligent little knock into the path of Williams. Numbers, though, with Port Adelaide. Corns got back. Chad Corns. Off to Boat. Carlisle. Salopek. Carlisle tries to take on Taylor and slipped a tackle. Motlop, Chad Corns. Gee, they're handballing a lot. Salopek, Kane Corns, now Brogan.
Played.
Beautifully played, back to Salopek. Pearce, look out. It was almost as though Cyril Rioli sat off Pearce, knowing he was going to get it, then pounced on him. And Pearce returns the favour to Mitchell, but he got the handball away to Lewis, who coolly kicks out wide. And the mark's taken out there by Murphy.
That's why Rioli is, I reckon, in the top 10 most exciting players in the competition to watch. Just another dimension in the game. Brown. Williams has been lively. Of course, he was quite prominent last year in this match. Well, he's got out of that one somehow. Now Guerra's turn. Was that in the back or holding the ball?
It's a great tackle.
Probably had to be one or the other, didn't it?
And this is where everyone, the value of today's footy is that chase from behind. I've never known it to be as good in the history of the game.
They're still tangled up, Corns and Guerra. Young gets it to Sewell, hasn't he been prominent? His 11th disposal is going to fall beautifully for Franklin. Just playing in front, he just had the anticipation to get there a step ahead of Carlisle.
And I reckon, Malcolm, that's unforgivable for a defender. When you've got a stoppage 30, 40 metres away from where you are, as a defender, you need to be first to the ball. You've got to anticipate the quick kick, and it always falls short. Franklin anticipated better than Carlisle. It's a cardinal sin for a defender.
Couldn't have said it better.
Franklin, a little bit out to the left, and then brings the ball back to the right, and Hawthorn within 7. And that's 2 for Buddy.
In fact, Michael, in the teams that I coach, from 50-50s, not general play, you have to read it. In 50-50s, you start moving to the front just as the ball hits the apex from the umpire.
Yep.
Just move forward ever so slightly.
And be on your toes, ready to anticipate, because that's where the ball's going to come.
Perfect.
So Franklin now starting to work into the game.
Here's the inside 50 targets. Franklin, who just kicked his second goal, 6 times he's been a target. Jared Ruffhead hasn't even been only once been a target.
Yeah, it's really been avoided with those extra handballs, whereas Franklin playing deeper gets more of the ball.
Brogan, Roden, Chad Cons, now Pearce towards Ebert. Oh, gee, Whitecross should have punched, decided to try and mark over the top, gets away with it this time as he gets the handball to Lewis Taylor. Oh, Roden jumps, so he just walked around him. Now off to Bateman. Here's another opportunity. Wasn't a great kick, although it fortuitously landed in the lap of Brown, who kicks quickly out wide to Sewell, getting involved early in this second term. Brad Sewell, rough head, no, not quite. Bateman attacks it, so does Bateman. Found the footy though. Sewell, a second opportunity. Jew, well done, Cracker. Oh, Jew copped a high one. And we'll get the free kick.
Oh, is it going to matter?
35 from goal, directly in front. And this to put Hawthorn to within a point after Port Adelaide dominated most of that first quarter. Gets one of his old teammates there, Chad Corns. This free kick resulting to Stuart Jew. No problem there. The Hawks back to within a point.
I think I've seen an urgency in the Hawks. It's a bit like watching that game against North Melbourne last week. Just see their players just seem to just lift themselves up out of the ground a bit. I'll be fascinated now in the next 10 minutes. It's going to tell a fair bit about this game. There's some real urgency came back into the Hawks.
Brad Sewell, 13 disposals, already 4 in this second quarter, and already 4 first possessions from the stoppages. So he's been very important. A worry for Mark Williams. Couple of early goals from Hawthorn in this second term. Brogan and Taylor and Roden, who was prominent early. Corns is on the ball at the moment, around the corner, but there's not a lot there as far as Port Adelaide are concerned. Lade gets there late, but not before Morton's able to generate some run. This is Guerra now. Bateman looking behind and finding that Guerra had kept on running. He's able to elude Roden. Up to half forward to Rioli. He just fools everyone almost all the time. And Campbell Brown's turn to pop up and take the mark.
He is an absolute star, Rioli. Have a look at the jump. That is a huge jump from a standing start.
Blighty, Robbie Gray was convinced that was coming over the back. He can't believe that Rioli stretched and got to that footy.
Amazing.
So Campbell Brown just kicked 1 goal 3 coming into today for the season. It's been a slow start for him.
So all locked up here, early stages of this second term. Port had a 20-point lead in the opening quarter at the 22-minute mark, which evaporated very quickly. Kane Corns now. Got it from Carlisle. Oh, dangerous kick, but it's okay.
They've been inside 50 4 times to 0 in this quarter, Hawthorn.
Kicked the last 3 goals of the game. Selipek kicks wide to Pettigrew, still at half back. Need to be precise here, and it's not, so turnover, 2-on-1. Sewell feeds it back. Morton, and he goes wide. Wasn't a great kick. Roughhead now. What can he make of this? Pressure coming from Surgeon. Gets support. Moss back inside to Guerra, who's been excellent. Wasn't a great kick, and Motlop did superbly, kept his feet.
Corns is on here.
Driving kick to that man, Chad Corns. Now he's got a couple inside attacking 50. He's looking backwards. Perhaps should have tried to go forward. Lade forced to kick up and under. Murphy did well. Positioned himself in the hole, and Renouf, well, it was pretty clumsy, but he got the desired result. A boundary throw in at half forward for Port. Corns just had to turn. He had 2 loose players on inside the attacking 50. Brogan was held. He'll get the free kick.
Yep.
They really need this, Port. You can just, you know how sometimes games change? Here we go.
No, handball off to Pearce. It was a little too fierce for him. Handball back to Selipek, back to Pearce. Going backwards, Cracker decides just to bomb it away in hope. Corns forced to spoil it. The fall, it's all Hawthorn. Rioli, brilliant pickup.
Oh, how good's that?
Bateman, now Franklin. Around Cracker easily. And with a bounce, can go no, decides instead to handball to Williams, back to Franklin. He'll kick long to the goal square, looking for Roughhead, didn't come off. It was a poor kick in the end. He'd run 100 metres. And the mark taken by Carlisle, 50 metres against Dew, so Carlisle will come up inside the centre square.
Trent Croad watching on. Hopefully he'll be back at some stage, and they need him back. So Carlisle can poke this kick over the top. It sits not too bad for Salopek.
Great tackle.
Campbell Brown first, and Rioli came on as if he needed any help. And Mark Williams certainly a little distressed by what he's seen in the start of this second quarter. All the signs are that Hawthorn are starting to get on top. With both ruckmen in for a little tangle there. Sewell's been copping plenty of heat because he's such an effective player at the stoppages. Some of the big guns haven't had a lot of the footy for Hawthorn. Luke Hodge just 3 disposals. Sam Mitchell just 4. So they've had a few wins, Port Adelaide. Here's Gray bouncing to his feet. And Pearce has been in a lot of things so far. Some good, some not so good. That one belongs in the latter category. Morton also spilling the beans. Whitecross. Heat's not gone from Hawthorn's defence completely here. He had to come at the ball. He waited till Hodge got it and then wrapped him up. Umpire said, that was all right. We'll play it on. And the Hawks are able to combine here, and it's Whitecross who has the job of kicking out of defence.
He does it, and he does it well. Mark taken by Bateman in the true centre-half back position. Run provided wide by Moss. Decides to cut back inboard. Stokes by himself just forward of centre. Bateman kept going. Sweeping handball from 60. Kicks to Franklin. Didn't quite get to the mark, but Franklin around 1, around 2. And in the end, weight of numbers, 3 on 1 there against Buddy. Umpire Vozzo screaming at Brogan to play on. Advantage, but he decides to go back. Free kick comes back to Carlisle.
The last 3 kicks into their forward line just haven't worked for Hawthorn, but they're starting to dominate general play through the midfield.
Kane Corns loops it over the top. Pettigrew got Chaplin wide, and he marks between halfback and wing for Port Adelaide.
Can they maintain this all day, Port Adelaide, Blighty?
Well, that's the trick for both teams, actually.
Nathan Cracker.
Still like to see this in the game. This is still a good play. Switching.
Yep.
Is really good play in footy. Always has been, always will be.
Hartlett on the end of it. He's confronted by the Hawthorn zone. Kane Corns popped up more centrally. He kept it closer to the flank. It's turned out all right with a little bit of luck. The rub of the green. Here's Treadray. Just couldn't get it off. Moss, Sewell, Hodge, Mitchell. Some pretty impressive names there for Hawthorn. Down at a late inclusion. Took a long time to kick it and won't be pleased with the result because Port can surge here. Gee, Gray kicked it even though he had his opponent. Oh, Trego's going to get a free. Just for a little bit of off-balance work from Murphy. Just rolled into his back. And that's so crucial because there was 5 Hawthorn players there to 1 Port Adelaide player.
Didn't need to do it.
No, it's just lost balance. I think the kick was so poor, it was going to be over Treadray's head.
Williams.
Well, it was such a poor kick. It would have missed him by 20 metres.
So what you're saying is it was a clever, poor kick.
Yeah, there's such a thing.
No, well, there isn't, but that was it. So, Treadray on the runway for Port Adelaide. Needs to kick that steadying goal for them, and there's no doubt about that. That is a beautiful response from Warren Treadray in Port Adelaide.
Well, Hawthorn wasted their opportunities going forward when they had control of the game, so it really took an accident for Port to get a goal, though. You'd like to see it a bit cleaner than that. That's very scruffy. They've got to get better than that to go forward to be consistently in front over the next 2.5 quarters.
It's almost, that's just what they needed, perhaps just to stop the momentum of Hawthorn and give themselves perhaps a little more confidence. Alistair Clarkson and Warren Treadray kicking that goal for Port Adelaide, his second of the afternoon, breaking a run of 3 goals by the Hawks, and Port back in front now by 6 points. Brogan beats Campbell, taken though by Dowler. Kick partly smothered. Brown up forward this afternoon, sweeps it back. Bateman's been busy, chips it wide. Dowler kept going from the centre square, and has he held onto it? Yes, says the umpire. Right on 50. Chips it short, and Moss has taken the mark, and that was poor marking by Port Adelaide. Moss able just to drift inside the attacking 50. And a good effort from the young man Dowler, who was involved in the centre square, getting it out, kept going. And a chance here for Moss.
How many seconds do you reckon he had? 10 seconds, 15 seconds for someone to pick him up?
Yeah. So Moss, nice action, but he's missed to the right. And the margin cut to 5 points in favour of Port.
And that's one of the problems in playing zones, of course, is that you end up not really focusing on an opponent player, particularly when a mark just outside of 50 had 10 or 15 seconds to get off the ground and then size up. It really is bad defence.
What's it like then? What does that mean for a young player coming in for his early games playing a zone rather than the older style blood? Is it, does he not develop as well, or that's not a worry?
No, because what you actually do, you don't have as many contested footies. See, Hartlett's got 8 or 9 touches. I mean, he's looked good, but he really hasn't had it win a man-on-man contest.
Yep. Salopek to Thomas. Salopek up to 16 disposals. Pearce 15. Chad Corns 14. Low spearing ball. This is Thompson getting in the road. Handball. Aimlessly, you would say. Great tackle from Pettigrew. Surely that is holding the ball.
He actually got him a bit high to start with.
Fair enough.
I wasn't sure the umpire saw it.
No, Sewell off to Young. It was a long time to blow the. That's a big kick. Franklin got a bit of traffic. And well done in the end. They just got bodies in the road. Made it hard for Franklin to get a clear run out. Let's have another look. First of all, at the poor handball from young Thompson.
He missed the mark by the way,
fair way, and that's just slightly over the shoulder. First up from Pettigrew. Hawthorn putting good pressure on out of the half forward flank for them, and the ball goes over and out.
Well, they are contested footy. Looks all right though, doesn't it? Looks a nice young player.
So 4 points the advantage to Port Adelaide. Led by as much as 20 in the first quarter. Brogan does his own roving off to Boat, jams it on the boot, and Treadray, yes, juggling mark on centre wing. Lade moving into space. Gee, that was a great effort by Young going back. Great courage. And a boundary throw in. As we watch that again, Lade, it's going to be a simple mark, but Young did very well to get a hand in there.
Inside 50 count this quarter, 8-4 in favour of Hawthorn.
Sewell doing very well at the clearances. And they bring it away. Lewis testing Hodge here. Logan's got the job on Hodge. He's doing a good job so far. And a chance here for Motlop. Look out. Oh, beautiful back pedal. And then the cross-check kick towards Treadray's got to beat a couple at the full. And again, couldn't quite handle it. White cross off to Williams. Now Morton. And this handball frenzy. Franklin, Rioli, sold Morton into trouble, and lucky to get a free kick. Rioli's away, and this time he's copped it up. Good pressure from Port Adelaide on that occasion. And the free kick will be taken by Pettigrew at half-back.
That was a good description, Michael. A handball frenzy. That's what it is, Blighty, at the moment. It's just, I guess they have to do it. But it just makes for so many mistakes. And Rioli going to try to make it costly mistakes as far as Port are concerned. Brown going by foot to Mark Williams. Instantly plays on as if he could sense that he had teammates on the outer side of the ground. Moss sets it up for Franklin. Carlisle disorientated. Franklin easily does it. Played on when he didn't have to. But why not make it a bit more difficult? And Hawthorn are in front.
Not quite sure what Thomas was doing on the northern wing. He almost tried to invent a handball forward, and predictably they turned it over. And when they moved the ball quickly, and Franklin's almost one out in the goal square. Geez, hard to stop.
Watch this build up again as Franklin just reads the ball better. But I'm going to be fascinated. The coach that loses today, I wonder if he's going to say at some stage, I wonder if we went man on man and just played some footy just to see if we were the better team doing it that way.
It's a good question.
One of them's going to scratch their head tonight and say, oh, why do we continue to do that?
Carr got it to Roden, off to Kane Corns. Now Hartlett, who looks composed, off to Brogan. Josh Carr again, loops the handball over the top. Well done Thompson on this occasion, got it to Logan. Can he find a target? Roden involved, off towards Boat, should kick a goal here from 20 metres, and he misses. Under a bit of pressure, mind you. Margin back to a point in favour of the Hawks. Hawthorn getting on top in general play. Port Adelaide at the moment just holding on.
Guerra running out of ideas and runs over the line. So big opportunity for Port Adelaide, one they need to make the most of here.
You're surprised, Malcolm, that players kicking from the goal square have to go so close to the line? I mean, does it matter? Does a metre or two when you're kicking over 30, 40 metres?
I agree with you.
2 sets of ruckman, and then there was Daniel Motlop, and he's got hopping for holding the ball.
It's an unfair rule, that, isn't it? He created the play, just got knocked off it, and just missed his boot by a fraction. Oh.
So Guerra's got it in the back pocket. Young.
But, I mean, coming back to that kicking in, you know, and putting your foot over the line, which we know is illegal. But we do that all day, every day, don't we? We always trying to extend ourselves, don't we, in what we ever do?
Yeah.
You know, the speed limit might be 60, but I bet you do 61 and 60.
Gee. Now, be careful here. Mitchell might have been off there, but he chips to Moss, who's getting a couple of touches. Back to Lewis. Confronted by Thompson. Around him pretty easily. Oh, gee, good tackle coming from Gray on Moss. And a chance here for Port Adelaide. Thompson. Little fumble from Chad Corns. Off to Gray, back to Thompson. And his short kick covered about 11 metres. Was called play on. Chad Corns off to Roden. Gee, they look fumbly at the moment. Roden, can he make something happen? He can now. Handball forward to the play to Pearce. 60 from goal. He fumbles. And Murphy mops up. Well, fumble from Taylor this time. Boat goes in hard. Murphy tackled high. Comes to Chad Corns. Jams it on the boot. Logan and Hodge. Hodge too strong. And Hawthorn away. Mark Williams. Got a bit of zip. Pursued by Ebert. Now has to backtrack because there's not much on. And kicks it back towards centre half back to Guerra. It's got a couple of options. One of them is Morton, who marks at centre half back.
God, there's players everywhere here.
Bateman got himself into big trouble, holding the ball. Advantage paid. Pearce is on his wrong side, so decides not to take that advantage. That was actually smart. And it comes back to Motlop. I mean, Hawthorn have flooded numbers back in defensive 50. It's a different game, Blighty. Game's changed forever.
Oh, yeah, and that's professional. That's full time you do. You're trying to hang on to the apparatus. I mean, that's...
Yeah, that's professional. Went for the top. We love that. We should encourage it. Now, that wasn't a great result for the Torpedo fans of Australia. They're off the side of the boot. Not like they used to do at training, Blighty, from the centre circle. Now the Hawks can put the head down and start to run. Young used Dowler, and now Bateman, and then Morton on the other side of the ground. It's 2-on-2 out there. Thomas trying to get to the footy. He maybe just got around the neck, but doesn't matter. Campbell Brown's got the head down. He's backing himself to be able to bounce away from Ebert and send it forward in the Buddy direction.
I know footy's changed forever, but what won't change is coming to the football to watch blokes like Franklin play.
Who played on instantly and missed. I mean, that's what's great about Buddy, is you just don't know what he's going to do next. But
you can't stop this as a defender, Malcolm.
No.
I mean, the vertical leap and the stretch. Port Adelaide bring it out late.
He does it. I mean, he's about 6'18" when he puts his hand up, isn't he?
Yeah. Cracker finds Treadray. Thompson. And the cleaner here he is. Boak. Motlop. Hemmed in on the boundary line. Gee, I don't know quite what he was trying to do there, because there was certainly no Port Adelaide player in the vicinity. He kicks it out on the full.
One of the problems is, I mean, there's so many options now when you do a zone that when you first look up, you see 3 or 4 options, and quite often that's too many. I mean, you've really got to see the good one. The good players see the better option, is probably what I'm trying to say.
Whitecross has got to try and pinpoint Lewis, but Sellepeck will have a say in this if he gets a good enough bounce. Very intelligent football. Bateman inboard to Moss. Port trying to get numbers back, but Hawthorn have got plenty of bodies through centre half forward. Young for Stokes, who's right on the edge of the area here as far as scoring goals. Franklin's got 3 in front of him. Surely that must mean there's some free Hawks. Guerra's got the run up, but he didn't count on Pearce. Holding the ball, advantage paid. Big Brogan's out in the wing. If Thompson could just see him? Can he see him? He's got no mates nearby. Got a handball away. Pearce, that's all right. Selipek on the overlap. No, it wasn't perfect ball for Gray, but he kept on coming. Selipek had nowhere to go. Is he going to be pinged? He's not. It's a ball up. They need to just conjure a goal here, Port Adelaide, somehow. Just have something to show for all their efforts.
Well, both teams actually are using the ball plenty, so there are mistakes, so they're both going to have opportunities to score.
And here's Roden, delayed the handball, but still couldn't find the target. Surgeon copying it from Guerra, and now Rioli and Sewell collaborating. And the Hawks away again to Mitchell, to Williams, I should say. Along the line, look at Rioli, he kept on coming. How much has he got left there? Maybe not a lot, but he won't die wondering, Rioli. The crowd on their feet when he goes near the ball. Hartlett did well to Roden, and now Corns.
Cracker not far behind him either, as Port Adelaide bring it out. Boak, Thomas, Surgeon, wide now. Hartlett needs to use it. Beautiful kick it was off the bench. Great poise. Ebert kicks to a central location, and mark taken by Gray. 35 from goal directly in front.
At 45, 50-metre pass. Isn't it a beauty?
Yep. He's looked impressive. Hartlett, taken number 4 in last year's draft. Big raps on the youngster. And certainly in his debut, he's delivering. Gray just sucking in a couple of the deep ones there, Malcolm.
Actually, there'll be a few taking it shortly. It is a quick game. Regardless, there has been mistakes, but it is quick.
This to put Port Adelaide back in front. Should kick it. They need it. Looks pretty good. Oh, he's kicked it. Scrapes in. Port Adelaide back in front at the MCG. 5 points the advantage. The 6-4 plays 5-5. And they worked it out pretty well. The kick from Hartlett and the follow-up kick from Ebert was just as good.
Was indeed. Become a goal kicker this late, hasn't he? Just pops up. Pretty good in the air. Developing player.
So the Hawks are still staring at a deficit at half-time despite all their work in this second quarter. Their efficiency in this second term Hawthorn is only at 50%, which is extraordinarily low for a side that is so renowned for their kicking. It's been by hand as well that they've let themselves down at times. Both sides have been the culprits on that. That's nice, clean stuff. And it ends up with the big man run off, sending it forward, but Treadray getting back. So all hands on deck for Port Adelaide as they try and defend this 5-point lead. Nathan Cracker again's had a busy day for Port Adelaide. He's had 13 disposals. Now we're seeing Ebert.
Hawthorn have a couple back here. Guerra and the ruckman. So this should really be outnumbered here. And there's Guerra.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you do the long kick. We've only seen something like 34 long kicks for the day, and that's one of the reasons why. If you do kick it long and not in the right direction, you're just going to get plucked off, and the opposition can just carry it. With a minute 20 to go, Williams has the footy, and he's been able to find Stokes, who plays on instantly and gets it into the 50, but it's going to be tough for Buddy from there.
And he can't control it over the line. 4 players in the vicinity of Buddy Franklin on that occasion. So a boundary throw in at half forward. Port by 5. Ticking down to half time. Campbell decisively off to Bateman on the left side from 45 metres. He lets fly and just misses. So under a minute left in the half. Here's the work of Chad Corns on Campbell. Campbell, beautiful tap, the back to Bateman.
Port have put the quarter away. They've got 17 players virtually behind the ball or in the defensive area. And there's that magical mystery. Hold the ball up.
I want you to come up with a new signal, Blighty, that one of the teams can...
Oh, we used to, I mean, seriously, used to have them pull up your left sock, your right sock. Used to practice all that. And that was, we go left or go right.
Roden.
Did you get that technical at all, Michael?
Nah. We always used to wear our socks up, Malcolm.
Yeah, no, just when you scratch your leg, left leg, right leg.
So this is all
So they've scratched their right leg and come out the right side. Didn't you see that?
Just a matter of seeing off time for Port Adelaide, and Hamish Hartlett's going to have the last kick of the quarter, and a pity they didn't move it about 10 seconds earlier because they could have had a shot for goal, Port. But they lead by 4, and they'd have to be pretty happy with their efforts here against Hawthorn, against the reigning premiers. They're right in the contest, 6-4-40 to 5-6, 36, 4-point margin. We're getting closer to one of the biggest days on the footy calendar. Later in the year, it's the grand final, but next week, Anzac Day.
Well, Guerra's by himself at one end and Andrew Cracker's by himself at the other. So we've got loose men at either end to start this second half.
So Warren Tredrea starting this second half in the goal square on his own. Free kick is going against Taylor, and it goes to Brogan as we start this third quarter here at the MCG.
He didn't even look forward, did he?
No.
Brogan? How's that for footy now? From the centre square, if anyone kicked it out wide when I was coaching, and it's not like that long ago, I didn't like those players very much.
Well, that's the opportunity to get it in quickly.
Yeah.
Corns, well, it should be gone for that. He had the footy, and that's a good decision, I reckon. He was tackled pretty quickly, but he had his moment to get a handball away, and he didn't take that opportunity.
Well, taking up what Andy Marr said, Andy, there's a perfect example of it. Don't kick it long.
Oh, it's a clear directive, Blighty. They scream it out from the bench down here, Port Adelaide.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. And you want out in the goal square and you've got Tredrea.
Wide cross kicks, and the mark's taken by Morton between half-back and wing for the Hawks. Chips it inside to the excitement machine. Cyril Rioli off to Guerra. Off to Bateman now. Rioli kept going. Wasn't a great handball from Bateman, but he was able to get the 1-2 back. Now Sewell a chance. Off a step from 45. Puts the Hawks in front. So a little clumsy, but they kept their head. And there was Rioli. He kept running. Look at his hard running there. Getting it back. Wasn't a great handball from Bateman, but he again presented. Lovely finish from Brad Sewell.
I've seen Sewell do that too many times now. He's nearly one of the best one-step kickers you've ever seen. Doesn't he get some penetration with the ball? Anthony, hasn't he been a huge in today, Sewell?
He certainly has. 20 disposals, which is what he had in round one. Now, long kicks, we saw not many of them, and the short kicks, just to again emphasise how often they've been going short either by foot or by hand today, both sides. All right, it's a contest. It's a different kind, something we're getting used to, but very tight. Hawks have just been able to nudge in front here. Lucky bounce for Gray, and creative with the hands. Hartlett, who we've been impressed with by foot, doesn't quite get where he wants. Hodge, bit of whiplash there, but he's able to smile and come up and run out of defence. Lewis over the top. Williams, Rioli wants it, and why not give it to him even when he's off balance. Back to Williams, little quick steps, little adjustment, and Franklin will do the rest. One-on-one stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's good from Franklin, but Rioli through the middle. How good was that?
Well, he made Williams actually sprint to get the ball and in turn get away from his opponent.
We can talk about the modern game as much as we like, and say there's a lot of possession and all that, but when it works,
here it is. Here is his handball.
Look at that. Didn't have to change it a millimetre.
But Franklin never changed that by about a metre. The kick at goal. So they've had some misses, Hawthorn, haven't they? I mean, both sides have, but Hawthorn now 6-7-43, Port 6-4-40. Franklin's afternoon has returned 3 goals 2.
Under pressure, Pettigrew kicks it wide. The Cracker unlucky not to get a 50-metre penalty in his favour there, as Dowler wasn't a great kick. Rioli made it look good. Off to Sewell. Bateman, a little critical fumble. Chance now for Campbell. Brown jams it on the boot and in front, like a defender should be. Pettigrew takes the marks on his knees. Hartlett.
There's a problem with a Hawthorn player, Andrew Marr.
Apparently not. Hartlett in the back pocket. Sure, that wasn't a great kick. We'll get down to Andy in just a second as Sewell tries to throw it out. Boak in the way. Hartlett this time better. Or Sellepek couldn't get to the intended target. Taylor's handball wasn't great either. Oh, he's over it. Gets it out just in the nick of time. Mitchell gives it up to Roden, who's away. Here's a chance for Port Adelaide. Motlop. Pearce. Whitlock.
Oh, they're on long.
Just forward, and Brennan laid all by himself, and he marks in the pocket. He's got a loose player in the goal square. Treadrate, get boot the ball quickly. He does, and he goes for Port. So Port Adelaide back in front. They lead by 3 points, and the beauty there of working your way through the zone, and you've got loose players inside your attacking 50.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't say this, but I reckon there's going to be a few players that play today won't have a bruise on them. I mean, there's been very few packs, very few physical contests, some, always, but a lot of them. Gee, haven't they got some easy kicks?
Minor concern for the Hawks here. Brent Guerra brought himself off about 2 minutes ago. Spoke to the doctor and physio. Went down under the ground into the bunker, so he's receiving some treatment. Not sure what the extent of the injury is at this stage. We'll keep you posted.
Thank you, Andrew. Port back in front. Mitchell hasn't had a massive influence, as his 8th disposal return would suggest. White cross. And now they come up out of defence, the Hawks, through Murphy. Lewis with the little blind turn around no one, and then back over to Williams, who is a clear and ever-present danger. 2 goals, 2 kicks out from goal. Speaking of danger, Roughhead leads into the pocket. Franklin wants it long. He goes for the Roughhead lead. He snatches it out of the air and kept on coming. Handball at the right time. Was a bit unlucky not to get a free if you're going to go strictly by the rules. The Port defence sorted out, and they are on here, Port. Lade's away on the wing. If Pearce wants to use him, he's gone to Motlop first. Lade still on. He goes longer than that to Logan, which might turn out all right, but it was a much lower percentage kick, and they've turned it over. As you can see, Hodge is able to find Dew. And he goes short. Well, that was a missed opportunity, as we saw Guerra still getting some attention on the bench.
So Dalla at centre half back, very short to Murphy. Just inside the centre square. His kick through the hands of Lewis. Back up provided by Saul. Back to Lewis. That's a brilliant smother by Surgeon, but it spills wide to Whitecross. Bateman just sets it up. Rioli's got a big opportunity here, and he takes the mark despite the attention from Brogan. Always in a better position. He's marked 40 from goal, directly in front. There's Brent Guerra.
Yeah, he's done for the day, but look at that.
Looks like a hamstring, Andy.
Yeah, that's the area, Chriso. The ice is going on that left hammy now, and we know that he's had hamstring problems throughout his career, so you'd reckon that'd be his day done. Yeah,
okay, so Hawks down a man as Rioli comes in from directly in front. Lovely kicking action. He's put it through. The Hawks back in front. Well, he's been a star, 15 disposals. It's his first goal of the afternoon, but everything he does has got just stamped class all over it, Malcolm.
You know what? I think the more he plays in the midfield, I reckon he's a Brownlow medalist in the making. He's got the complete package. What a wonderful player.
So they're going to have some. They're in front, Hawthorn. They're going to have some man management issues, though. We know they've come in with 3 ruckman plus Big Dowler. They've lost Guerra, and Lewis, of course, underdone. It's his first game for the year in terms of senior footy. So even though the Hawks lead, they've got some challenges ahead. This is Moss to get them going. One thing they do have is a young star, hasn't turned 20 yet, in Rioli. Hasn't he turned it on today? And that's inch by inch. Bateman able to find Taylor. Not without a chance here, and he senses that. Keeps it moving straight away. Some extra centimetres deep. Franklin and Campbell with the dual targets. Hasn't really been the day down there, the big forwards. Franklin's kicked 3. Nothing to sneeze at. As Solopik just takes the mark from the kick in, and he gets out of trouble and uses Kane Collins, who can only see Hawthorn jumpers up as he looked up initially. Logan did very well under that circumstance to fist it clear. Handball from Lade. This is Boak. He's got Treadrate long. Treadrate with all that experience and class is able to hang on, and now he needs to convert.
Gee, he's done an amazing job, Logan. Hodges just had it 9 times, and he is normally the architect inside that defensive 50 for Hawthorn, but Logan's had the job today and done a terrific job in curbing his influence.
So Treadrate, just pop it through. You can see what's ahead of him there. Ball drop was okay, and they're back in front. He's got 4.
Shouldn't underestimate that mark either. I know it was, the only youngster in white shorts coming at him, but he did not budge. Have a look at this as he takes this mark. There's the kick from Boak. Watch him come in pretty hard, Whitecross. Have a look, Treadray just shielded himself slightly. Just thank you very much.
Warren Treadray, former captain, 6 last week against Melbourne and 4 so far this afternoon against the Hawks.
And looks as though Hodge has gone back onto him too.
So now the umpire will recall that one. The last set of bounce was a poor one, but he elected to let that one go because both ruckmen were able to contest it. I think Hodge has been there since the start of the quarter.
He's trying to get on to Treadray, but they're trying to get Logan to continue to quell Hodge's influence. He's had just 9 touches, and that might be interesting to see if other teams follow suit when they play Hawthorn.
Now, a chance here. Moss did very well to get to his feet. Off to Renouf. Chopped off by Brogan. Though Mitchell was good enough to find it. Sam Mitchell, the captain. Here we go. Inside attacking 50. Ball to the back. Chance for Cracker, who's been impressive. Salopek in the back pocket. Boak. Good kick from Salopek. 2 Hawthorn players in the vicinity, but kick was perfect. Off to Pettigrew. Oh, gee. Wasn't a great handball to Thomas. Put him under the pump. And I think he's done enough to get a ball up here. He has.
You've got to get off the turf, don't you?
That's right. Or if you turn on your back,
that's
always a surefire way to escape that dreaded holding the ball decision. So Brogan to do battle with Renouf. Moss done some nice things today, Gary Moss, but another bounce.
It's been a strange old game in some ways. Both teams have had their turn at dominating for 10 or 15 minutes, and then the other team will come back. It's been a fascinating game in who can actually do their skills. This high possession game, who is going to really use them the best.
The merry-go-round at half forward for Port continues with Logan trying to stay on Hodge as Boat takes it and kicks it high to that congregation of 4 players, and Logan works to the front. White crosses the fist over, and for the moment Hodge has been able to get onto Treadray. And I know the experiment with Logan's been a successful one, and I think sides try to do it every week, Hutto, but unfortunately they don't have the same success rate because Hodge is such a superb player.
Well, other sides, of course, have tried to put dangerous players on him to try and make him accountable, but that hasn't worked.
So a chance here for Ebert. He can't get clear. And again a pack forms, and we'll get another bounce at half forward.
So Malcolm, what do they do then? Does Treadray take Hodge back to the goal square here, or what does he do? Who tries to win that will?
No, I'd actually
take him out.
No, if I was Treadray, I've kicked 4 goals. I'm in pretty good nick. I don't care who plays on me.
Corns around the corner, and one of the extra bodies back was Campbell Brown, who handballed instantly, and they've got away for the moment. Murphy receives the pass all right from Whitecross, and further afield now Hodge has moved up to half back. He sees Stokes.
Gee, that was a good kick.
Young's on here, instant handball, wasn't so good, but Young chance to wheel. I know he's a left footer. Back to Lewis, who's just come off the bench, keeps it low and effective to Dowler. Buddy's in the goal square, Roughhead's down there as well. Just get it in there quick, set it up for Buddy. But he didn't get in there quick enough, and Carr's able to float back. And this Port defence, and in fact the whole Port team, they looked under real threat at the start of this 3rd quarter, but they've stayed composure and they're stuck to the plan, and they're executing it nicely at the moment.
Even Marks on centre wing, and he finds Boat in short. Kane Corns will forced to kick on the non-dominant side. It was a poor kick, and all Hawthorn here. Whitecross and Hodge can share it. And Hodge off a step finds Young, so
it's interesting.
Port into a build-up there for Port.
I mean, the thought is perhaps if Hodges that's happening, you can use him in the midfield.
Moss has got it. 50 now from goal with a second bounce, if you don't mind. Where will he go? Will he go for goal? He does, and just misses. And Roughhead screaming at him from the top of the goal square.
That takes a bit of audacity, doesn't it, when you've got Roughhead and Franklin screaming at you and a young fella in your 4th game.
Port Adelaide rebound very quickly. The mark taken on centre wing by Boak.
Has Pearce just floating past. Mongrel looking kick, but bounces nicely for Treadray. Could give the handball to Logan or kick it long for Corns. Out of position, Corns. Well done, Murphy. Nullifies him beautifully. And now the Hawks can swing on this merry-go-round to the southern side, where Moss is still on. Wonder if he'll kick it this time to Buddy. Buddy's calling for it in the pocket. No, he brings it in for Stokes. He's his own man, Moss. Maybe next time he might go for Franklin, because that didn't work so well either. Sewell, and they all jump on top and wrap it all up.
I wonder if Hodge can go on the ball. They have a change-up with him, don't they? They like him playing back because he's their champ at the back. But I just reckon perhaps it is time now to try and lift this tempo around the middle.
Well, he's taken himself into the thick of it there, Blighty, and he almost got it into the end of that tap down. But Roden got there first. Mitchell can still have a say in this. Hodge is out wide, leading for the footy. Look at Logan go to the ball, but Hodge's judgment was superior, and it might just create a goal. Roughhead not far enough. Boy, they have their wits about them in the Hawks. And their fans not too happy. This is Pearce streaming out of the fence, or he should have been streaming out. Bit of high contact, a little lucky, and Port will escape.
Good work again by Logan. And Port have won that little battle because Logan has now got the tight tag on Hodge. Short kick is a poor one. Taken by Saul. Lewis is in the target, but the kick was too high for him, so taken by Thomas. Off to Surgeon. Port Adelaide have got numbers running forward here. Chance for Thompson. Cover yourself in glory, son. He runs to 25. And the mark's taken by Murphy. Gee, disappointing. And Hawthorn bring it out.
They're well zoned up here though, Port, on the outer side.
Young. And as a consequence, forced to really bide some time and kick it towards Saul, but chopped off by Roden. Here's another opportunity for Port Adelaide. Chad Corns has got it 60 from goal. He's got a couple of targets inside the attacking 50. Tread Ray, yes! 10 metres from goal will put Port further in front. And what an afternoon, Malcolm. Mentioned earlier he kicked 6 last week. This for number 5 this afternoon.
It's a real shoot. I thought there'd be more goals than this, as I mentioned earlier.
And there's
too many probably
to Lewis after the Saul kick missed the mark.
But gee, when it works this style of footy, it's exciting to watch.
Treadray comes in. He's got 5. Port Adelaide out by 8, by 7.
And he's coming off for a rest as we watch Warren Treadray. Oh, just the use of the footy, isn't it? It's real possession use game, and the team that's going to use the footy, which is always pretty much the case because there's very few packs, fast flowing, and fitness. Those guys that have done a big pre-seasons are going to be the winners at the end of this.
Treadray sits down. He's had a fabulous day. 5 goals for Warren Treadray. And Port Adelaide now lead by 7 points. Hawthorn with some big issues here with an injury already, and Taguera and a concern over Lewis. The Hawks crowd getting vocal, but Port really strutting their stuff at the moment. And good lead from Ebert. Takes a strong mark. Robbie Gray, such a creative player. And Ebert to have a shot from just outside 50. Ebert, relatively quiet day, just 6 disposals and 5 marks. Got to go 450 metres. He hasn't quite been the same player since the grand final over a year ago, I don't reckon. Blighty's kicking certainly deserted him. He didn't have a great day that day. No, I don't know if it's been a confidence thing, whether it's a coincidence, but just hasn't seemed to be in the same damaging force.
I watched him pretty closely last week. I just had a feeling he stretched his groin a couple of times. I'm just wondering, not certainly making excuses for him, but I'm just wondering if he's actually 100%. You know, he can play.
Oh, look out. Chance there for Whitecross, who tried to give it to Hodge, but intercepted by Port Adelaide, and a free kick to Port. Well, Whitecross tried to do the right thing, give it back to Hodge, but the handball was just a little bit too fierce, and Motlop was standing right in Hodge's path. Some inexperience there from Whitecross. Well, maybe it was Hodges' fault for calling for it, but Logan, in any case, has got the free kick directly in front, 30 metres from goal.
What was the free kick for again?
It was against Hawthorn for holding the ball. Touch harsh, you think?
Cool.
Well, big kick this for Logan. Lovely little left footer, and the margin out to 13 points. So Port Adelaide have kicked the last 3 goals of the game just when we thought Hawthorn were in complete control.
Right, there he goes. There's a shared ball, and he's held on from the top. What was that hold? How could that possibly be holding the ball?
Well, because they had an opportunity, the umpire deemed, to try and get rid of it, to try and handball it.
Another case of what's a decision here, bloke.
You've got to look at this again. Have a look at that. There, Hodge goes through. He goes back and gets the ball, got held, got rolled over. Well, someone grabbed hold of it from the top, and you call that holding the ball?
Well, he should have tried to kick it.
Oh, how can you kick it? That's sorry, little green line, mem. You got it wrong then.
Umpire's Appreciation Day, Malcolm.
Yes, but you can still call that's a garbage decision.
Tennis ball green. It's terrific. Oh, there's an intercept by Nathan Cracker. They don't win the footy immediately. Young gets dumped. They are full of adrenaline and spirit now, Port Adelaide. The Hawthorn crowd trying to get their team back on an even keel here. Have a look at some of the faces. They're used to seeing this. Shake of the head from that man. Hawthorn down by 13. Still plenty of time in this third quarter. Kane Corns, both they're winning all the important contests at the moment. Lade, Motlop, you can't count him out. Gave a little shove. The umpire just was right on the spot. The little lime green man that time, Lade, got that one perfect.
As I said, I think we should applaud all the umpires. They helped make our great game. But as I've said before, and I'll say again, if they get one wrong, they can be twerps too.
Mark taken by Whitecross at half-back for Hawthorn.
Hawks have got a bigger issue here is Hawthorn. Can they get themselves out of this slump, Blighty?
Well, as I said, the game's been a strange old game because both teams have had their 15-minute period. Port are going through one now. I suspect, I might be wrong, have been known to be wrong before, but however, I think Hawthorn might have their little turn now.
Okay, so Lewis brings it back inside the corridor to Morton. Wobbly old kick off the boot, but it got to its intended target in Bateman, who steps Pearce from 48, drives it deep, but it's offline. Margin 12 points, 17 scoring shots to 14 in favour of the Hawks. And a turnover, Brown did brilliantly, can give it off towards Riola. He doesn't miss from there. Go to Hawthorn.
It's their turn.
Margin back to 6 points, and a costly turnover by Port Adelaide just when things look to be going beautifully for them. Malcolm, here it is again.
Yep.
Well played by Campbell Brown.
Oh, this boy, how's this? How good's that? Can't believe how good that is to kick that up quickly, understand your position on the ground, and be aware of all that. That's a fairly good computer in that little fella's head.
In a game where turnovers are so crucial, Rioli's operating at 94% efficiency today. He is an outstanding young player, and Hawthorn fans, we know about Buddy, I mean, not like we don't know about Cyril, but boy, they've got an exciting time ahead watching these players in action. They've still got a big challenge today. Port Adelaide, with Gray getting them forward, he's been a bit of a revelation since going into the midfield. We know he's dangerous up forward. Motlop overran it. So as we said, there's still plenty of time for Hawthorn, even in this quarter. A trail by just 6. Whitecross, another target miss though. Thompson, you just bubble it up for Pearce. We know he's got great acceleration. Back for Thompson. A little off balance. Still looks pretty raw as Thompson. Boak, and then Roden. Pumping it out wide. Motlop, you never know what he's going to do. This time he's kicked it behind. And it's an exhausting style of play, this as well, Blighty, isn't it? So much running.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just reckon you run better when you touch the ball more often. You know, if you're getting touches, you keep running.
Kick from Franklin. Pettigrew claims the mark, then handballs wildly. Chance for Williams, overruns it. Hartlett did very well. Will be pinged though. Just got the ball far enough from his body, I reckon, to escape the penalty, and that's how the umpire sees it. And we'll get a boundary, or a bounce, just the attacking side of left centre wing for Hawthorn. 7 points their deficit at the moment. And then close to three-quarter time. Brogan, beautiful tap down to Carr, who somehow got the handball out to Rodden, who tapped intelligently to his own advantage. Then chips to Ebert, who leaps and marks in front of Whitecross. Gets on with it quickly. Deep at the back. Logan's got the set and takes a screamer. Gee, sat off them. Had his name written all over it. What about that? He's done the job on Luke Hodge today, and there's hung on his shoulders, and it's taken one of the marks of the year.
I would think that might be a big contender. Did you know he had it in him? Not sure. Good on him.
Well, he's kicked the goal already in this quarter. Can he convert? He jabbed at it, didn't he? Man, the kick didn't follow the mark.
Now, I'll tell you what.
Wasted opportunity, Malcolm.
Sometimes the energy you used to do that's a great lead. The energy you used to do that and hit the ground. See how hard he hit the ground? You get up a little bit tired each time you do that, and that's why sometimes you see that. The guys get up and just don't quite nail it. He's pretty dirty on himself too.
Hodge trusts his sharp left boot. Bateman lets the rest in his wake. And the Hawks are off and going. Up ahead, it's fairly much one-on-one stuff. Surgeon's watching Rioli. He's not close enough to him though. And so Rioli just has a little bit of freedom. And then he was able to spot up Bateman, who's always deadly dangerous. Into Franklin, hits it hard and just can't drag it down. Dew kept it alive. And Gary Moss is not afraid to take up the rest. And he puts it through.
Well, this is their time. Hawks have kicked the last couple and come back hard at Port. It's been one of those games. You almost write the script. What a great jump. Almost. Good pressure from behind. And then that wonderful handball. Good kick too. Equally as good as Rioli's last one. So that's two very good snaps by the Hawthorn team. And not a lot there the Port Adelaide players could do. They defended as best they possibly could.
Good story, Gary Moss. There's Franklin, the only player to spend the entire game time on the ground. Good story, Gary Moss on the Hawthorn list for a couple of years. And then let go, drafted back onto the rookie list, and now back in this senior side doing a good job. Beautiful tap from Taylor, and the Hawthorn can work it out again. Dowler showing some composure. Wobbly old kick towards half forward. Cracker try to get it back to Treadway. Brown knocks towards Roughhead. In the way Kane Corns. Rioli across the goal face. Through from behind. Margin back to a point.
Oh, you should never put that much pressure on a young player, but I reckon he's got, when he gets better in the midfield, I don't care who you put on him, it's not going to matter. Someone's going to follow him around, he's still going to get the ball. He's just one of those really smart players.
You would have thought he would have kicked that goal, Blighty.
Well, no, it's
bread and butter stuff.
Well, it's probably not his Brownlow medal year. You just want to do that, you know, get the three votes when you
saving
need
it up.
Yeah, save them up.
Hartlett goes short for Corns, who's finding a bit more of the footy at the moment. He's had 20 for the day. He's retreating back to Cracker. So Port trying to take it from the southern side back to the members' side. Thomas. Back from one side to the other. That's not bad, except there's still plenty of Hawthorn players over there. So Corns will have nothing immediate. Carr runs hard for him. Brogan. Treadray's a long option if he wants to go along the wing, but there's lots of Hawthorn bodies there. And he's able to pick out Stephen Salopek. Now Brogan has to work, but that's all right. So they've got it safely to half Port Adelaide. They lead by a point. Just over a minute to go, which they'll be roughly aware of here. They won't want to concede another goal, but gee, they'd love to snatch one on the bell. And Treadway has had a day out so far with 5 straight to follow up last week. Kicked 6-1 last week from memory. So he's got the kicking boot on after he didn't kick any goals in the first 2 weeks. That's a beautiful effort as well. So Port with the initiative here.
They've been patient, Malcolm, and so far this foray forward, it's
nothing
working
here to
okay
go
for them.
Let's go back out.
Yeah, they're going to go back and try and work it from a different angle.
I think they're going back to Adelaide to come back again.
That was Hamish Hartlett with the turnover. Maybe they should have gone back all the way to Adelaide. Bateman kicked it hurriedly. Mitchell kept it going. Brown's a danger if they can get it inside 50. Can they get it inside 50? They can. Buddy Franklin, he's a step ahead of the rest. And Brown just couldn't make talk. Scores are level.
Well, there you are. Perfect scenario for a last quarter, isn't it? They've all had their 10 or 15 minutes, Michael, and it's got down to this.
So Cracker at full back finds Chaplin in the back pocket. And he can just give it back towards Cracker. There's almost get down to three-quarter time. Set up for a wonderful last quarter here at the MCG. Hartlett, and that's it. Three-quarter time. It's all locked up. 9-12 Hawthorn, Port Adelaide 10-6 Malcolm.
Yeah, the Hawks kicked 4 goals, 6 that quarter. I guess you'd say the scoreboard says it's 21 shots to 16. But it was interesting, as I've mentioned a couple of times. They both had their times. They both had their good times, and I guess their bad times. But set up, what more can you say? All square going into a very important last quarter.
And we're back with that last term coming up next.
Down
to Andrew Marr.
Yeah, and that's going to be exacerbated by the fact that Brent Guerra has done that hamstring. He'll be taking no further part in the game. The only injury from amongst both sides down here. So those three ruckmen, it was a roll of the dice that Hawthorn took going into this game, and it's going to be interesting to see how they nurse them through. There's Matt Thomas on the screen there. He was involved in an incident halfway through that third quarter with Jordan Lewis. They both came off the ground at about the same time, and Jordan Lewis was taunting Matt Thomas for ducking his head. He did it 2 or 3 times. There's a bit of byplay between the two of them on the interchange gate. So there's a bit of feeling in this game down here. Port Adelaide are really giving it to Hawthorn down here, and they truly believe that they are well and truly in this match, which I guess is obvious when you look at the scoreboard.
Indeed. Scores are level. Fancy Blighty as we check the score at the SCG, and looks like Carlton going to continue to have Sydney as their bogey team.
Look, I don't know why. It started with Hawthorn, and I always thought it'd be a tight game, genuinely tight game. And I just look around at their players, and I still see some players that can. There's a bit more up in the Hawthorn team, I think. However, it's the old story. Port are right there, and in it with as much chance as Hawthorn.
Is fatigue going to be a factor in this game? Can the Port defence hold out Buddy Franklin and Jared Roughhead in this last quarter?
The thing I do notice, Anthony, is that Mitchell is now out the middle. Corns has gone with him, and he's up forward.
Mitchell's only had 13 disposals. Lade's in the goal square for Port Adelaide as we get ready, and we are go in this last quarter.
Brogan wins the first tap. Chance for Surgeon. The little toe poke is okay. Pearce pumps it inside, attacking 50. Oh, good mark taken by Chad Corns. 45 from goal, and what a wonderful start this would be if he could nail it from here. Can kick it a long way. Decides instead, though, to kick it short, and Gray has taken the mark. A bit closer to goal. He's 35, the man on the mark at least, 35 metres from goal. Here's another look at the strength.
It's a fairly dangerous forward line as it stands, Blighty, isn't it? With Treadray in good form, laid down there as the long target. And then you've got Corns and Gray, and of course Motlop, who they can bring on off the bench.
So Gray, great look at what confronts him. That is a beautiful kick. And Port Adelaide lead by 6 points. So Robbie Gray kicks the opening goal of the final quarter. And, gee, that's a dream start for Port Adelaide, Malcolm.
Gee, they just kicked it forward in a contested mark. It's, again, football can be very simple sometimes, and it was a very good mark from Corns, and even better lead from Gray and finish. Good psychological blow for Port Power to start with.
Yeah, 2 goals to Robbie Gray.
This is a fair effort from Port Adelaide without 2 Burgoynes and their captain Cassisi. We know Hawthorn equally have injuries down back and some undermanned midfielders, but Port have really made a big test of this, and they lead by 6 very early in this last quarter. Taylor and Brogan Sewell this time getting no room to move. Carr, a tough nut as always.
As you can see, that Mark Williams looks on, the coach of Port. Hodge now in the middle, and Logan's gone with him into the middle of the ground.
Such a pivotal game, this round 4 for those sides that have only won 1 or no games, and the Hawks are facing 1 and 3 if they go down. There's some extreme zoning off. Moss takes the mark, and this time he lays it off to Roughhead. It's not his day, but Franklin's still in it. Did he get dumped too much? Hawks fans thought so. Franklin still had a sniff about it. Eventually Moss has taken over the line. Just 1 mark for the day for Jared Roughhead. Franklin, that was the cry of holding the man. Brogan, Roden, Carlisle handball to the man who was under pressure. Salopek gets them out of trouble with nice clean disposal to Pearce.
At half-back for Port Adelaide, good kick to Roden, who ran hard from the contest. Oh, gee, I don't know about that. Kicks to Boak, only 5 metres away. Boak has to wait for it to bounce to him, and now kicks it long. Treadray in a good spot here at the back. Good play from Murphy, but Gray takes it. Chance for Chad Collins. Will it bounce for it? Oh, it took an eternity to pick it up. Handball back to Gray. That wasn't a great bounce either, but Gray kicks, spins it back and just misses. What a golden opportunity there, missed by Port Adelaide. Margin 7 points in their favour.
Just want someone to push up. Push up is something. He sees an opportunity here. If all the players push up, they can keep this ball in and get another goal. It's going to put enormous pressure on Hawthorn.
Big long kick in. Thumped back though by Brogan. Off the left, Pearce. And he's missed also. And if Blighty's talking about 15 minutes of fame and the run of the play, Port have got it here. And they've missed 2 chances. And you just don't know how many chances you're going to get.
Got the zone set up extremely well though. Bateman's little kick into the back pocket to Whitecross towards Morton, corralled by Brogan, but he gets the kick away. Williams did very well, got rid of Pettigrew and hits the ground. Here's a chance now for Hawthorn. Deep, Franklin, the only man standing, he'll run and kick, decides to play on. Well done by Carlisle, but he gets the handball towards Moss. Cracker did superbly. Got it to Carlisle, and Port Adelaide relieve the pressure. Surgeon, Boak. Gee, that was a close call for them. Well done, draws the player, over to Salopek. Beautiful kick to Ebert. Got inside Logan, running for him, decides to ignore that. Then kicks to a central location. Out comes Treadray. Beautiful handball. Brogan can kick a goal here, and he does. Port Adelaide by 14. So what was so nearly a goal for Hawthorn turns into a goal for Port Adelaide.
If anyone's ever played this game, you always butchered something, right? No matter how long you played it. Buddy Franklin and Hawthorn, between them, have butchered a real golden opportunity. And sadly for them, it's gone down the other end, and Port were good enough to capitalise. Good on them.
This is quite extraordinary. Buddy Franklin, as Christo said, it was the last man standing, but they knew he wanted to kick it on the left foot, and the pressure they put on his left side meant that they were still in it. They didn't concede a score. Now a bit more conventional up forward, Port, 1-on-1. It was 3 1-on-1s by them. They were prepared to kick it deep, and they reap the rewards. They lead by 14.
24 disposals to 7 in favour of Port in this quarter.
Gee.
Well, Hawthorn had the last 10 or 15 minutes of the last quarter, so we've just got to wait for this to flip around again. Well, it's just been the game, hasn't it, really?
Brogan with the tap. Due for Lewis. Again, an unconvincing handball. Opens the door for Robbie Gray. He's dangerous. Out the side. Ebert, Corns missed the last one and doesn't make the most of this one either. It almost cut through for a goal.
Well, it snuck underneath him there for a moment. So Murphy gives up the kicking duties to Jew. 15 points, the deficit facing Hawthorn at the minute. Brown needs to be strong. Well done by Thomas. So it comes back to Brown, off to Lewis. Jordan Lewis, not too much to go to. So he kicks across the ground, finds Young, chips it to Sewell, who marks uncontested in the centre of the MCG. Wants to get on with it quickly, confronted by Cracker. Gets it wide, Bateman takes it very nicely and then kicks across the ground. Moss, who marks at centre half forward. 55 from goal. Kicks it to the goal square and beautifully read by Carl, although he muffed it up. Wasn't a great handball. Gave it in fact straight to Franklin, who fends off Surgeon. Moss has got an opportunity. Franklin. Surgeon now relieves for Port Adelaide. Will it go over or Simon Taylor pick it up? He does. So Hawthorn a chance to go forward again.
They are. They look up. They see still plenty of Port numbers back in the defensive 50. Whitecross looking for the run from behind. It's Dowler who obliges. And then he too has to revert back to the middle. Murphy will try and kick it. Hodge has been thrust into the forward 50. Takes it and then gets it across to Stokes, who just had enough room to get a kick away, but not enough to get the kick where he wanted it to go. And the Hawthorn supporters and players continue to curse.
Cheers, a great chase down by Roden. Look at that. Little Peps are pushing the back, but just did enough.
Almost. Roughead the tap down. Pettigrew. Hodges in there. Mitchell got some high contact. They get it through. Williams doesn't need much of a chance, but he needed more than that. Salopek on the last line for Boak. Both of those players have had huge afternoons. 27 disposals each. Travis Boak ever improving to Carr.
Interesting stage of the game. Obviously, last quarter, 14 minutes to go.
Still a lot of time for Port to suck up here, Blighty. They can't get too defensive, but gee, they could manage another couple of goals somehow through the rest of this quarter, then they're going to be hard to beat.
I think that's the key. If they do score two more, yeah, well, obviously there's got to be 5 come back the other way. So that
it's 1-on-1 up here, and that's got to give these Port boys a real chance. Ebert got the sight set, full forward. Robbie Gray just couldn't hang on. Great stuff from Roden. The little Dodgem car through the traffic, but he misses. And it's a behind, and again, Port wasting opportunities. They're all tough, though, in the last quarter when the pressure's on.
2 goals, 4 they've kicked this final term. So Whitecross in the back pocket. Good kick, finds Williams. Played a lot up the ground this afternoon, Mark Williams. Bateman has been busy. And now Franklin. Now confronted by Roden. Does very well, although the handball wasn't great. Stokes has got enough time. Just a steady, reassess. And well done by Salapak. Got back in on Bateman. Surgeon takes the crumb. Wild old kick. And this will be to the advantage of Hawthorn. Dowler. Around late, easily. Now, this is the interesting bit. Can he find a target? Decides just to kick long and hope. Roughead at the back, in front. Oh, gee, Kane Corns will be disappointed with that. Strong mark from Sam Mitchell. And he'll go back and kick from 40 metres.
He's been playing up forward too. You're looking around for the match winners. I mean, there's a Rioli who we know can play. There's a Roughead who can play. Franklin. Wouldn't expected Mitchell to be doing this, taking marks, but perhaps they're saving him for the last 15 minutes in the middle.
Okay, from 40 metres. Lovely drop punt. Hawthorn have their first of the final quarter. Margin back to 10 points. And Sam Mitchell, who's been, you'd have to say, beaten over the afternoon by Kane Corns. It's a valuable goal for his side.
Oh, it's a bonus. Absolute bonus. Him go forward and grab a mark over his head as he looks at some perhaps calf trouble there.
Don't know if it's just a bandage problem, but he's getting some attention, Sam Mitchell. And Kane Corns outmarked in the air. Wouldn't be happy with that. So a captain's goal. Sam Mitchell Didn't have a great outing in round 2, but other than that, he's had lots of the footy. But quiet today, but he's come good with a goal when they need it. And boy, the Hawks need some more of that. Hodge copping plenty of attention. Unlike Josh Carter being in the thick of it and just annoying his opposition. The umpire gets things kick-started again. And now Rioli. The crowd just buzz every time he goes near the ball. Kicks it up to half forward. Good bounce for Lewis. Awareness. Moss has a good story today for Hawthorn. Throws it out. Lewis just couldn't get the run of it. Wade Thompson had some good and some bad today, but boy, he's lively. Quick kick from Salopek, setting them up again. Carr will know where Hartlett is. Can he find him? In the back, said the umpire.
Beautifully played by Carr. Just positioned his body so that the momentum of the tackle would take him forward, and he was at the bottom of that scrimmage in the centre of the ground, so he did well to get on the end of it.
Sets it up. Treadray. Oh, Motlop takes the mark. Now we know he can leap high. Sometimes when he gets to those dizzy heights, maybe it's the thin air up there, bloody. It does funny things to his head. And
what are you saying about high flyers?
Well, they're a bit funny.
Is that right?
Some of them are. You were. I think we all know that. Daniel Motlop. Hasn't kicked a goal today. Wouldn't he love to land this one through? It's coming back, but not enough. And it's a behind.
Let's hit the back fence.
Oh, he can thud the ball, can't he?
4 behinds this afternoon for Motlop.
Yeah.
So he's kicked 11-6 so far for the season.
You're disputing what I said, Blighty?
Oh, look, I'm sure there's been one high flyer that wasn't.
Dowler can't keep it in, so a boundary throw in at half forward for Port Adelaide. A good result for them from the Hawthorn kick-in.
Port have kicked 2 goals 5 to a goal in this quarter. They could have put them away, Blighty.
Yeah, but Hawthorn had their quarter in the 3rd quarter when they kicked 6 points.
Ball to the back, and what's the umpire going to make of this? Oh, advantage. Oh, gee, that all stopped. Now, it might even work in Hawthorn's disadvantage as Bateman's pressured by Salopek. Bateman fighting on, but the numbers, Salopek did superbly. Hartlett, well done, boundary throw in. Disguised it pretty well, so Hawthorn fans pretty anxious at the moment. Their side trails by 11 points. Campbell beaten by Lade. Well done, Boak. Although the handball wasn't great, put Hartlett under the pump. Logan, Thomas, Boak again, and Lade reels it in with the one arm. Now kicks to a one-on-one. Corns and Brown, and Chad Corns does very well. He's a hard man to mark.
He's taken 3 good marks in this quarter.
He's 55 metres from goal. Where will he go? He decides to go towards the brilliance of Motlop. And Treadray! And he kicks a goal! Number 6! What a game from the former captain. 6 last week, 6 again today. 6 straight as well. 17 points, the Port advantage, Malcolm.
Yes, it is. It's getting to that stage now where it must be Hawthorn's turn. The president looks on. Not very happy, Mr. Kennett.
Felicity's more interested in catching up with people on the phone.
She's probably calling for some extra players.
If Felicity Kennett's got a good joke, now's the time to crack it, because the president needs a laugh. It's all Port Adelaide. Blighty, you've been talking about momentum and the shits in this game. You just had a sense that for the 5 minutes prior to that Treadray goal, it was Hawthorn really putting the foot to the boards. Port Adelaide answered. That might be the one that breaks the Hawthorn heart here.
It might be. There is still time. Hartlett didn't panic again.
She's been good.
Thomas holds it up. Hartlett cops some more. Logan. Nice work from Corns. Yeah, he's been telling in this last quarter. Here's Pearce into the 50. It's all for Gray, and no one near him. And Robbie Gray to go back and have the shot. And this would just about put the final touches on Hawthorn if they could get out to 23 points here.
Probably the biggest margin of the day.
Yeah, be close. I think they got out to 20 points.
Yeah,
20 points in the first quarter.
Yep.
And that's been it.
Yep.
So Robbie Gray, a very talented young man. You can see the angle. You can feel the moment. And he hasn't quite been able to get it online. But it's 3 straight kicks between these two sides now.
Okay, the points are evened up. So from here on in, no matter which way you look at it, it's a fair dinkum. They've both had their kicking problems at times. So now she's a square game.
They have indeed. That was a kicking problem for Stuart Dew. It's marked by Thomas, 45 from goal, directly in front. Oh.
Well, you know what I'll be doing to Stuart Dew right now? I reckon some scary things repeat themselves. I'd have him up forward.
Here it is again.
Why wouldn't you have him up forward?
So handball's off to Lade, who goes bang from outside 50, and Port lead by 4 goals.
Just getting back to that, I know he's a magnificent kicker and he's missed that one. But I would have thought the scary place for Stuart Dew, if anyone remembers the grand final, which was really only 4 games ago, what he did in that third quarter in the grand final.
I've tried to wipe that game, actually, Blighty, now that you mention it.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
So it's 4 goals now. Stuart Dew, after that kicking indiscretion, is on the wing, starting a good 10 or 15 metres away from his nominal opponent in Daniel Pearce. Both ruckmen looking more at each other than the ball. Lade decided to get the tap down, and Rioli decided that this game's not over yet. Sewell, hurry, high kick to full forward, bit of cuddling going on down there with Hodge and Pettigrew. Hasn't been Hodge's day. It's out of bounds.
Port lead this game, but how good was Rioli then in the middle? That was good, wasn't he? He burrowed that ball out, so we talk highly of him today, but Porter doing a marvellous job here.
Lade quite casually down at the feet of Hodge and Pettigrew.
I can't moss myself. I have put Port in the grand final to get beat by Geelong at the start of the year. That was a big call, wasn't it?
It was.
After the Eagles loss, I thought I'd visited that funny farm.
Here's Franklin.
But today,
I think you've still got the keys, haven't you, from when you were there last time? Here's some good handball by the Hawks just to keep it buzzing.
She's got some good one-liners.
Gee, the Port players have just committed to the cause today. They are going to be very proud if they can keep it going to the line. Hodge can use his right boot, and there's some evidence. Look at that. They're not done with yet, the Hawks. Nice goal.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to go too early on that.
Well, you have gone the early crow. You have gone the early crow. That's a recipe for disaster.
It is. Well, it's just because if they do get away with it, it's a great win. Hawthorn have been under bench, so are they. But that funny farm key, you give it back to me, Anthony, please.
And the skill of Luke Hodge here. Now look at this. He was on his left side, was blocked, so had to kick with his non-dominant side, but still found the mark. Fantastic stuff. Andy.
You can just see Robbie Gray in the background of that shot there, feeling for his calf. He's the first Port Adelaide bloke to actually get hurt today, and he's come off the ground. So at a key moment, they lose a soldier.
Okay, as Carr kicks to half forward. Thompson couldn't take the mark. Paddles though to his own advantage. Well played in the end by Wade Thompson. Treadway in a good spot at the side. Chance for Eva. They can share it here. Surely that's it. Out by 4 goals again, Port Adelaide.
That is one of the biggest packs I've seen this year in footy, and every one of them hit the ground. It was an unbelievable contest as we watch this build up here. Thompson, I don't think he tried to mark that, just tried to tap it down. It was a funny kick. Now watch this. Watch the pack. They will all hit the ground. Bang. How's that?
Took a while for a few of them to get up too.
That's what's ahead for the Hawks. Adelaide Crows, then Carlton, Essendon and Fremantle, so they'll all be challengers. And if they lose today, which it looks like they might, as we check in on Port, big game now against St Kilda next week, and then the Crows is always a big game when those two sides meet. Have they done enough? It would seem so. To half forward, Corns, Murphy, wearing pretty closely now. Here's Pearce. He's had 27 disposals today. Porter look to hang on for as long as they can.
Oh, wow.
when they've needed to. We've seen sublime skills from Rioli. We've seen a huge mark from Logan. And now enter Daniel Motlop into the equation. He actually took the screamer over a bloke who was on the ground, so he probably wasn't as high as we thought, but that's a good
That's
leap.
pretty good.
That's a good leap, isn't it? Depends which angle you look at it from, Blighty, as he's missed it.
5 behinds from Motlop this afternoon.
No, well, Mark Williams will be pleased with that, because you know what? He hasn't wasted anything. For next week. Save a bit for next week. You always want someone down. Remember that, Hutto? Remember you Geelong people? You always want someone down.
I thought you were going to say it's a valuable point because it puts him 25 points in front.
It's quite a handy point, I think, is the term.
Shocking kick in again. Off from Chad Corns to Weebert, and he kicks his second goal in a couple of minutes. Margin out to 31. And that's a handy goal. Well, they have torn Hawthorn apart in this final term. And, gee, the nightmare continues there for Stuart Jude. This time, Chad Corns. And the finish by Ebert.
Yep. Well, they needed to do this, Port Adelaide. This is a super win for them. This gives them the confidence. We know the Hawks are a little bit undermanned at the back, and it's shown up in this last quarter with Tredrea and Corns really dominating the air. Also Motlop.
Yeah, 6-7 to 2 straight in this final term. That's a domination by Port Adelaide.
A few of the Hawks fans have seen enough. 31 points. Gee, it's got to there quickly. They have really piled on in the last few minutes. Rioli's still trying hard for the Hawks. Morton and Taylor sharing it around. Dew didn't kick it well at all, but Moss gives him a second crack at it. He decides to handball this time. Lewis looked like he's going to handball first of all. Ruffhead's had a very quiet day, but he's going to provide a bit of a highlight here perhaps. Stokes, Ruffhead, it's just not his day. Franklin, and he's got that. No, it's a behind. Hit the post.
Yeah.
With the back bit, the back of the fat bit.
I reckon this guy has played a terrific game. And the job all day on Luke Hodge. Done it superbly. Cracker. Mark taken out there by Thomas. Sweeping handball. Boak. Little chip to Brogan. He was interfered with by Hodge. And Brogan will take the free kick. Just backward of centre wing. So 30 points the advantage. And Malcolm, you obviously, as you said, you picked Port to figure in the grand final. You would have been certainly pretty happy with the way things have gone today and underline that stance.
Well, yes, it's a fair way away, I might admit. And but I just thought their list looked about right again. And I'm not the only one that did that, by the way, to put him in the top 4. I'd probably put him a bit higher. As we watch this kick from Franklin now. Oh, it's touched his hand. It's a touch.
It didn't signal touch, did they? Did they hit the post there?
Well, I thought it hit his hand, but anyhow, it was a point.
So from the boundary throw, chance for Pearce. And that's not a great kick. Free kick to Whitecross at halfback for Hawthorn.
And don't forget, I mean, Hawthorn had a lot at the back. Shaw's played okay, played pretty good actually coming back. And Lewis has done his stuff, so he'll be better for the run.
But we discussed before the game, this is a game that Port Adelaide had to really stand up in, and they have.
Yeah.
They certainly have. Young out to the wing. Morton, Surgeon contesting. A little bit of contact there and enough in the end. The umpire said, pay the free to Moss.
I'd still find it fascinating, Anthony, if they look back at the tape, Corns has taken contested marks and so has Tredrea. I think there's 4 and Motlop too, so 5 contested marks in this last quarter up forward.
Yeah, it's been more traditional setup.
Yeah.
We look up there now, it's one-on-one, but I guess the ball's at the other end of the ground. Franklin had it for a moment, now he hasn't. Cracker, and this is Thompson.
He'll go back here, yep.
And here's your favourite signal, Blighty, is Pearce.
740 players in the AFL all know the same secret code. There's not one of the 3 million people that watch the game know what they're doing. Is it secret? No, I can't say it. No, it doesn't matter.
Well, I've done a study of it, and sometimes when they hold it up, they go long down the line, and then the next time they'll switch it. Just can't work it out.
Have you studied?
I have done.
You've studied.
I've done a study on it.
You know that key that Anthony won't give me back to the funny farm we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Have you got a key to that?
Dear. So
solid win, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that challenged. I mean,
Where's it leave the Hawks, Blighty?
Well, I think what they've done is got a few games into some younger players. There's some blokes obviously not fit. 7 or 8 out. You take 7 or 8 out of most sides and they're going to struggle a little bit. Be competitive as they have been. But Hodge and Mitchell have been down a bit. So when their champs are down, mates, throws a bit of slack back onto some others.
Now what about this young man, Hamish Hartlett? First game for Port Adelaide, big raps on him, taken number 4 in last year's draft. Gee, it's a big leap from me, but couldn't quite take the mark. Well done, Brogan.
That's right.
Throw, okay, so a free kick to Hawthorn. Have you been impressed with his debut?
Absolutely. He's actually, he's been very, very good.
21 disposals and 10 marks for Hamish Hartlett on debut.
I think everyone knew that, though. He's a comer. He won the medal in the under-18 championship, so he certainly can play.
So the short kick comes from Whitecross, and Hawthorn have got it through Moss at half back, and as we tick down to full time. Oh gee, that went 5 metres to Bateman. His handball too for Young. It's just all unravelling here for Hawthorn. Great tackle from Josh Carr. I reckon he's been important in his final term as well. Josh Carr, hard and tough. And Alistair Clarkson now faces the prospect of his side 1 and 3. After 4 rounds, the reigning premier. Kane Corns, Pearce, handball a bit high for Chad. Rioli, it's been superb all afternoon. Morton has to stop and prop, kick towards Roughhead, who tries to keep it in. Oh, well bumped by Hartlett. Put Roughhead down, and he handballs back to Chaplin, who is in real trouble here. He's in real trouble. Free kick to Rioli. And this will cap off a wonderful game for Cyril Rioli, coming in for his 23rd disposal. He's kicked a couple of goals, laid 5 tackles. And it's been Hawthorn's best this afternoon. From 35 metres, a man who Malcolm Blight says will one day win a Brownlow medal. Who could argue with him? He kicks the goal. That's his 3rd. Margin 24 points.
This is good from young Hartlett here. We talked earlier about he got some easy kick, but he certainly knows how to use his body, and that was terrific. Just kept low. He's won his contested ball, and coming used to young Rioli just doing his stuff. Sometimes you just like watching, don't you?
Yeah,
he's won.
Treadrace kick 6. Dominant force up forward for Port this afternoon.
He's also had 15 touches, Treadrace, and that's really good signs. That's back to his nearly best.
33,000 people at the MCG. The reigning premiers about to go 1 and 3. Bateman, Lewis, Rioli was there, but the handball went backwards, and Pearce ready to send Port away again through Kane Corns, who got some contact from his old teammate Stuart Dew. Probably thought it was worth it at this late stage.
Oh no! Hey, Mr. Lime Green man, you got it wrong. He punched the ball away. How did he know what happened? He had his eye on the ball. I think that's a really tough call. Yeah, I agree with him. No. Yes. That's a really tough call.
I agree. I mean, when you're involved in the contest,
yeah, that's right.
The whistle could be going for, and particularly for downfield free kicks.
How would you know?
So Logan to pop it through.
But we do like the lime green lollipops, don't we?
Absolutely.
And he's done enough. And Port are continuing the celebrations. 30 points is the margin. Been a tough day in the coaching box and in the outer if you're a Hawthorn person.
Let's go back just before this game finishes. I'll make a comment. One of these coaches is going to be very unhappy with all that handball through the midfield. I wonder if Alistair Clarkson will say, let's get more ball to Roughead and let's get more ball to Franklin quickly. Be interesting over the next week or two which way he attacks this now.
So Port Adelaide, 7 goals, 7-7 in this final term. Hawthorn have managed 3-1. And Mark Williams congratulating his players. It's been a tremendous effort here at the MCG, where they've won now 9 out of their last 11. And coincidentally, out of the last 11 times they've played Hawthorn, they've won 9 of them as they go forward again. Chance for Hodge this time. Kicks towards the wing. Hartlett controls the bouncing ball very well. Pearce threads it back, and the mark's taken by Carr. Oh, yes, just inside the line. The mark's taken by Kane Corns.
Find the footy.
And that's it. Final siren, Mark Williams, a very happy man. Port Adelaide have defeated Hawthorn by 30 points. The reigning premier, a 1-3 after round 4.